So welcome everyone to meditation today. In Victoria we've had our first lot of restrictions lifted, and just chatting with some people yesterday, and it seemed that there was just a really strange kind of feeling and tone to the day yesterday, and as I've been thinking about it and reflecting, I feel like what happened yesterday after the lifting of restrictions was that all of a sudden there was a whole fresh wave of uncertainty that we started to feel. And I just looked up what uncertainty can mean. So I'm just going to read that out. So uncertainty is, of course, the lack of certainty, or a state of limited knowledge where it's impossible to exactly describe the existing state, a future outcome, or more than one possible outcome. So I'll just read that again quickly. So uncertainty, the lack of certainty, a state of limited knowledge where it is impossible to exactly describe the existing state, a future outcome, or more than one possible outcome. And so yesterday I feel like there was just this real wave of uncertainty that we all started to feel, where it's like, okay, what does the lifting of restrictions mean? What does it mean to me personally? What does it mean in terms of my work or in terms of my socializing? And this kind of like the cards, the deck of cards thrown up in the air again. And so as I was reflecting on that uncertainty, I was realizing that mindfulness is a wonderful tool that we can use and that we can adapt for this current situation of uncertainty. And the reason that mindfulness is so useful is because it's learning to be aware of this present moment, aware of our thoughts, aware of our surroundings, aware of our state of our being, but doing so without judgment. So being mindful is just being aware in this present moment. And so I feel like for all of us kind of today, in this time of uncertainty, it's really helpful for us to stop, to pause, and just to become aware. How am I feeling? What am I thinking about? How does my body feel? And not being harsh or judgmental or being anxious about the next moment or the next day or the next period of time, but just to accept where it is today. So that's my little reflection before mindfulness. So let's get comfortable, folks, wherever we are. Just having a little wriggle, a bit of a stretch. And we're taking this time to settle down into our chair or our bed or the floor or wherever it is we find ourselves. Let's just allowing our bodies to settle. Let's also take this time to allow our thoughts to settle as well. Imagining the thoughts in our mind just coming to a place of stillness and quietness. Imagining each thought like an autumn leaf as it drifts from the top of the tree down towards the earth. Each thought is of different shape and colour, maybe. We have no need to pick them up for this next little while. We can quite comfortably and safely leave them just sitting and resting in the bottom of our consciousness. Just drawing our awareness now down from our mind down to our lungs. And noticing the feeling of the air filling our lungs up and stretching out our chest and our rib cage with each breath in. Just really gently and slowly placing our hands on the top of our chest, up near our collarbones. And just becoming aware of the way our whole body moves with each breath. Almost like our whole body is breathing. Noticing that we actually have a body, that we're not an image on a screen, but we're alive, and we can feel the flow of air in and out. Noticing the feeling of skin or fabric underneath our fingertips. Again, noticing the feelings that we can feel, and a reminder that we are wonderfully designed and fully alive. As we slowly lower our hands back down into our laps, we start to notice the feeling of gravity all over our bodies. Holding us firmly on the earth. And as we pay close attention to the gravity and the way it pulls, we can feel it almost massaging our bodies. And starting from the back of our head and neck, we feel the weight of gravity pulling, and we go with that feeling. We just release our neck muscles. Perhaps imagining the warm water of a shower as it flows down over our bodies. Feeling the weight of the water on our shoulders. Not resisting the pull, but just letting go. Noticing now and becoming aware of the space between our shoulder blades. And as we take our next breath out, just imagining that space gently growing and becoming bigger. Flowing down now to our bellies. And over the next few breaths, just releasing the muscles and the tension in our bellies, and imagining a bowl of jelly, just nice and relaxed. Just doing the same now with our fingers and our hands. And imagining that all of the bones in our fingers and hands have turned to jelly. They've lost their form and stiffness. Imagining now that we are cupping our hands. We might like to do that, or we can imagine that we're cupping our hands, and in the cup of our hands are all the feelings of uncertainty, of unknowing, of anxiety and worry. And perhaps all of our little fears are in there as well. We might imagine them a bit like mercury in the bottom of a thermometer. Very difficult to contain mercury. It follows its own path. We're just going to release our hands or our imaginary cup and just observe the way all of those emotions attached to uncertainty they just trickle down towards the earth. We just observe them without judgment. Acknowledging their presence within ourselves, but not unduly disturbed by those emotions. Just like our thoughts, we just see them, we'll just leave them there. Just sitting comfortably for a moment with the uncertainty. Tomorrow will take care of itself. We draw our focus back to our breathing, and we rest in the certainty of the breath in and the breath out. The rhythm of the breathing the rhythm of the rise and fall of our chest. The certainty of gravity as it holds us on the earth. As it keeps us steady in whatever environment we find ourselves in. We slowly and gently, if we choose to, place our hands back on our chest up near our collarbone. Feeling a degree of comfort from the sensation. As we begin to draw our time of meditation to a close today, we have an attitude of thankfulness for our breath, for our bodies, for our minds, and for the space that we find ourselves in today. And as we take a deep breath in, when we're ready, we exhale and gently open our eyes to come back into the space. Be at peace, friends. Shalom.